Hi everyone, welcome to Code Debugger. So today we'll learn how to create our first application in Python. So this video is for only beginners who want to create the Python application and want to deploy in server, or let's say they want to create a RESTful application in Python and they want to create a Docker image and want to deploy in server. So that we'll learn in this video. So as part of this video we'll learn only how to create the application. Maybe in future videos we'll create Docker image out of that and we'll try to deploy that in Docker container. Okay, so let's start with our first Python application.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss any update from the code debugger.
So what we'll do, let me create a Python folder here. Let's say test Python. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll try to open this in IntelliJ and we'll try to set up the project in IntelliJ. So actually in real time people used to use the IntelliJ or VS Code to create the Python project. So I will show you how to do that in the IntelliJ. Okay, so let me open the IntelliJ here. Let's open the Python project here, the folder which we have created. Now I'll go to here. Okay, now I pointed to the Python application, the Python folder. If you see desktop / Python. So here what we will do, for the first step is we need to create a requirement.txt where we will import our dependencies, or let's say library dependencies. Okay, so let me create the requirement.txt file first. Okay, so once this requirement.txt file is created, what we will do, we can define our libraries or dependencies, or the module which you want to import into our project. See, the requirement.txt, why we are creating, we wanted to create a virtual environment. Okay, so in that virtual environment we'll install all those modules which we want to use in our project. Okay, so here I want to use, let's say I want to create a Python RESTful application. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll use first API, that is that we use to create the RESTful application, and maybe you can use requests, and then we can use to deploy in the server, right? We need a server for that. Like in Java we have Tomcat and all, right? So here we'll use UVCon. Okay, so these three dependencies I will use now. So now what we'll do, we'll create a virtual environment. Okay, I will open the terminal here, and here to create the virtual environment in Python the command is python -n, then virtual environment. If you see here, right, now our virtual environment is created here. If you see bnb/, then inside this we have the bin folder and all, including all the libraries and all, Python 3.12, the default which I am using in my system. So now to activate the virtual environment, what we need to do, we need to run this script, activate script. Okay, so that location is there in the if you see virtual environment, then bin/activate. Okay, so I will use the command called source, then virtual environment.activate. Okay, so now the virtual environment is activated. So what we'll do now, I have to install whatever I have mentioned here, right, in the requirement.txt, that I want to install in the virtual environment. Once you do the installation, let's say what is the command to do the installation, pip install -r ./requirement.txt. Okay, now if you see, it's trying to download fast API requests, UVCon, whatever we have defined here, right, those it's trying to download and trying to install. So let's see, let me reload this project so that it will come automatically. Okay, so inside this, I will see requests came, first API came, and UV also should be there. Okay, and the related dependencies are also there. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll create a src folder here. Let's say src, and I want to make this folder as a source root. So whatever code I will write, I will write inside the source src folder. Okay, now I'll create a Python package. Let's say my package name is test. Okay, and inside that package, what we will do, I'll create a Python file. Let's say test resource.py. Okay, here it is showing configure the Python interpreter. Okay, what I will do, we'll add that our virtual environment to the Python folder. If you see, automatically it is the IntelliJ is able to detect the Python environment here, VNV. Okay, desktop text Python and VNV. This is our virtual environment. So we'll select this one, and then SDK we have selected. Now we'll add the Python to that virtual environment. Okay, apply, then okay. So if you see that notification, whatever it was showing, it's gone now. Now all the libraries are available in our application, and let's start the coding. So first what we'll do, so we'll use the first API. Let's say I want to use the first API. From first API, then I want to import the first API as a class. Okay, I'll use one logger to log the details, or else we can use the print also, but the best practice is to use the logs. I'll use the logs. So now our logging is ready. So what we'll do, I'll create a variable, and that variable should be type of first API. I'll call the first API constructor here. Once the variable is ready, what I'll do, I'll create a definition. Okay, test. Okay, and this method, let's say I will add a logger here. Okay, and then I'll return one message called hello codedebugger. Okay, once this is done, we need to annotate this. Okay, I'll use app.getOff/test. Okay, and the best practice is we need to make it as async, so that it should run in async way. So once the application is done, what we will do, we want it to run in a server. The coding is ready, we want it to run in a server. So what we will do now, I told you, right, the UVCon I will use as a server here. So I will import that UVCon. Okay, now I wanted to run this UVCon server. Okay, so I'll write a main method here. So UVCon.runoff. I wanted to run this first API. Okay, and then I will pass the host name. So host name will be the default, any host can be allowed, like the local host, and then port will be, let's say 8080 I wanted to run. Okay, so once this application is ready, let me start the application first. Okay, if you see here, the application is started, and I wanted to hit this API. I can run this /API/docs, or you can make it as localhost/API. Okay, so this is the Swagger documentation for that. So here if I will hit right this one, I should be able to get the hello code debugger. Okay, so this is just a basic application we have created here, and we created a RESTful application, and in next video we'll try to run that Docker, how to create a Docker image, and we'll deploy. Thank you so much.
That's all about this video. Thanks for watching this video. Meet you in the next video with a new concept.